My best friend accused me of cheating on him platonically.
It's not a thing. That's not a thing.
I'm in the middle of an ongoing argument with my best friend. My female, 19, best friend, male, 19, and I have been close for 3 years. I have quite a large social circle, but it has always been common knowledge that Matt is the person I'm obviously fondest of. People know that, and it's no secret that we spend most of our time with each other. By the way, this comes from user SoftSavings4126, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So things were absolutely fine until this week. I was invited on a 5-day camping trip with some of my course mates at college. We spent a lot of time together and wanted to celebrate the end of the semester by saving up to go somewhere. For reference, Matt isn't part of this group because he does another major. So it didn't really come up in conversation before this point because he hardly knows these people and it didn't seem like a big deal to me. The trip is scheduled for the start of August, and I told Matt at the start of this week that I was going. He went silent, and when I asked him what was the matter, he said that it was weird how I put that much money and time aside for people I've only known since September. I told him that's ridiculous because we spend a lot of time together as a group and we're good friends. He still went on to say that we've never traveled together and he's got 2 years on them. Then he said it's like I'm a platonic cheater, quote unquote. I feel bad because my first instinct was to laugh a bit because honestly I didn't expect him to come out with that. But he hung up the phone and wouldn't answer my texts. I don't know what to do about this because I can't find it in me to apologize. I'm not a cheater, and I feel like he's making me out to be the a-hole for having friends besides him. To be honest, I think the reason we've never traveled alone is because it'd be a solo trip between two members of the opposite sex, and frankly, it'd feel like dating territory. It's just not appropriate, and I'd rather travel in a group, but Matt's friends aren't my friends, and my friends aren't his. It's not that I think he'd come on to me or anything, but I think that's the type of thing I'd rather reserve for a boyfriend. By the way, this will be my first traveling experience done with friends rather than family. So, am I the a-hole for choosing to vacation with relatively new friends instead of my best friend of 3 years? So there's an edit here from the next day. I rang Matt today after reading the comments from this morning, asked if we could meet up to talk in person because I'm not happy about the silent treatment. We argued on Wednesday night. He said he'll come over after his shift on Tuesday, so I guess I'll update if we resolve. I'll probably be the only one doing this because I don't want to drag the situation. So, whatever. He didn't apologize over the phone, by the way. And there's some more comments here from OP. A commenter says, he seems to think you're his girlfriend or something? Right. OP says, people do often mistake us for a couple. Commenter says, not the a-hole. You are allowed to have other close friendships and go on trips with whoever you want. Matt is acting possessive and framing your choice as betrayal, which is unfair and emotionally immature. It's okay for him to feel left out, but it's not okay to guilt you over it. You've done nothing wrong by saying yes to a fun opportunity with your college friends. If he values the friendship, he'll talk it out once he cools down. OP replies, thank you. I'm trying to assure myself of that, but he has been a rock for me. So he's kind of got me thinking I've betrayed him in a way, which sounds crazy, but I don't know. I mean, like, there's something to be said about, like, completely abandoning, like, old friends for, like, the new hotness or whatever. But right. I don't feel like that's what's happening because you told him about the trip a week bore it happened. You were actively hanging out. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I mean, do we know how old these people are?
19. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like, it feels like a very high school thing. I know 19, you're out of high school now, but, like, it feels like a very high school thing to not understand that, like, people can do things without, like, either the entire friend group or, like, without everyone that you know what I mean? Like, it's a big thing to go on a trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Gross.
But, like, even though it's a big deal, it doesn't mean that everyone has to be involved.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
Come on, guys. Another commenter says, Matt is obviously into you and not telling you. So OP says, please no. Top comment is, girl, I think your friend likes you. Why else would someone come up with platonic cheater? Give me a break. OP's like, I thought it was because we're so close. Am I effing dense? No, you're 19. About being more than friends, OP says, I'm starting to worry that is the case, which I don't think would end well because we have been so close and opened up about so much that it's almost too vulnerable, you know? Like, our relationship is not a casual friendship. We know deep things about the other's life. And I feel like that's too intense for a budding dating relationship. Does that make sense? OP continues, I guess I would have to interrogate him over that. I feel like in my head he's always been an off-limits person because we're so close. And so even when there were times I considered us being something more, I never entertained the thought. It's weird. He's off-limits, but not because I would never be attracted to him or anything. He is attractive, objectively. Before we were actually friends, my first impression of him was that he was attractive. It's because I don't know or think it would work. I don't know. I'm just yapping now. Another commenter says, not the a-hole. I don't think Matt is into you, necessarily. I mean, it's possible, but there's no certainty of that. And I wish people would stop suggesting that just because they're of the opposite genders and best friends. I've had plenty of jealous friends that weren't romantically interested in me, and I have been scared of being replaced in friendships before when I was much younger. OP, maybe plan a day trip with Matt, something that takes a few hours or so to get to so you can go there and back without having to get a hotel room and all the rigmarole. Go to a city, see some sights, do something fun, eat good food, and have an honest talk about the jealousy. Reassure him you're not going to disappear or replace him, but you have separate lives, and that's a good thing. It means you'll always have news stories to share. OP says, it's a relief to hear you say that because I've had the same jealousy over girlfriends, and I'm completely straight, probably, LOL. And so it's not outlandish that he just feels replaced in a platonic way. And there is an update 2 days after the original post. I think he likes you, dude.
I think so too.
No one throws around the term platonically cheating.
Yeah.
If you're not like so obsessed with that person that you're like, I want to go, I want to go on trip with you. Me.
Right.
Or
it's
maybe
just
19.
You're just so young. You're just so young and stupid, both of you. I mean, maybe not OP, but it's just such a young
it's a little
person
silly
thing to be jealous of, like, your friends hanging out with other friends. That's a stupid thing to do when you're young.
Yeah.
And if he's having these feelings, like if he's having these strong feelings about wanting to go somewhere special with you, it's very possible that it's because of more feelings.
Indeed. Let's get to the bottom of this. Update 2 days after the original post. Things are kind of resolved, but also up in the air emotionally. In short, Matt came over and it started off pretty heated because I was quite mad. I said he's completely overreacted and it was immature of him to ignore me for nearly a week. He didn't say much and he had his head in his hands for a while, which made me go quiet. He kept saying, I know, I'm sorry, I feel stupid. So I just came out with it and asked if there was something he needed to tell me because I want to know. At this point, I was crying, LOL. I was a little riled up, to say the least, so he hugged me and said he loved me and he was irrational and jealous. Can't lie, I thought we were going to kiss, but we didn't. I don't know what's going on here, but you guys weren't crazy. We talked more about why the trip bothered him so much, and he kind of echoed what you guys theorized. He felt left behind and said out of all of his friends, I'm the one he values the most, and he'd love to do something like his first friend holiday with me. Neither of us are that well off and have only been on a handful of trips with family when younger. And by the way, you can listen to a handful of episodes with stories just like this. And by a handful, I mean like over 2,800. All you need to do is go to Spotify or iHeart or your favorite podcast platform and search Storytime. And you can listen to our whole archive.
Yeah, it's like a handful, but like if it was a giant's hand.
Yeah, if you had
them all.
A hand the size of a subcontinent. Like,
yeah,
just the Amazon River basin.
Yeah.
Just...
That's the only hand that all of our content would fit into.
Yeah. There is a little bit left. Clearly they like each other.
Yeah.
Girl, you want to kiss him.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about that. Maybe talk about that.
And then maybe kiss afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. I can't lie. I was very nervous, very emotional. I didn't want to push it by asking explicitly if he had a crush on me, but I do acknowledge that the way we act with each other, like wanting to kiss, is a little more than wholly platonic. Maybe it's just one of those loves where you'll always have that attachment, but I need not materialize into a romantic relationship. I don't know. I'm still confused. Anyway, I think he was a bit immature at best. You could argue slightly possessive at worst. He said that when he said platonic cheater, it was ironic, which explains the theatrical wording, but the jealousy was obviously real. We laughed about it a bit and we enjoyed some leafy greens. I think we're okay. I mean, I'd love to hear your takes. I don't know. Someone will say I'm in denial. Ha ha. You are. You guys got to talk about that.
Yeah, it started off annoying, but now I think it's kind of cute. I think you both like each other. It's kind of cute. It's silly that he said that was ironic, saying like a platonic cheater, but then hung up after you laughed at that. Like,
Yeah, that wasn't ironic, dude. You were mad.
Yeah.
You were upset.
Yeah. You just wanted to, I think he just wanted to be like, oh, it feels like you're cheating on me, but we're just friends though, like I promise. So he throws in the platonically, but it's like,
yeah, if we were dating, I would think this was cheating.
yeah.
Oh. And you're 19, so you're like, I don't know how to tell this girl I have a crush on her. What am I going to do?
Just hold hands already. Just go on long walks on the beach already. Come on.
Just go hold hands. But that is the end of that story.
My best friend accused her husband of having an affair with me.
Oh, that doesn't sound like a best friend.
And this actually comes straight from the r/OKstorytime subreddit.
Ooh,
So one of our own. I, 36 female, have been friends with Amy, 36 female, since we were 17. We have been very much like sisters with matching tattoos, and although we are not as close as we were in college, I thought we still saw each other that way. By the way, this comes from Fabulous Soft 2306, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, now, both Amy and I have come from traumatic backgrounds, and it always drew us closer. We were definitely toxic AF in our younger years. We both were crazy partiers back then and used to do stupid stuff together. When she got her first serious boyfriend, he cheated with several of our friends, and I got into it with him over how he treated her and how harmful he was. Now, Amy herself was super toxic. She cheated back as revenge. She hit back, but generally speaking, her ex was worse, and they brought out the worst in one another. Amy and I have opposite tastes in men. Our crushes or love lives have never overlapped, and she finds everyone I like gross, and I find the same over hers. And in that, it built more trust. When we were around 20, one of our friends introduced us to a new guy, Smith, who's now a 40 male. Both Amy and I were in relationships. Smith seemed to shoot a shot with me, and for the next 6 years or so, messaged me constantly with openers and compliments and the occasional shot of his muscles or something. Sometimes I did talk conversational type stuff. I outright told him several times that I had no interest in him spicily or romantically. So whenever he got weird or flirty, I would leave him on red to enforce that. But he was still in our social group, and I stayed civil otherwise. All of our friends were aware that Smith would send these messages and joked about it being sort of sad and weird. When Amy and I were in our late 20s, she was divorced with kids. She ended up hooking up with Smith at a party. Our friends were a bit weirded out given his weird message thing, but she told us that he was just an F-buddy and she needed a rebound. Fast forward several years later, Smith and Amy have been married for some time. Wow. I stood in their wedding, and truthfully, it was never a grand romantic love story. Days before their wedding, when I was doing wedding speech stuff with them, they had a cruel argument in front of me where they both put each other down. After Smith and Amy got married, my husband became good friends with Smith and started playing music together as a hobby. Amy and I were busy with life and kids, so we mostly stayed connected through socials or the occasional hangout after work. But we could go weeks without chatting. Smith still did message randomly, but it was usually about my husband and him or mental health stuff. My profession is in mental health and trauma rehab. Both Amy and I work in health and both work shifts. One night after work, about 2-ish years ago, my husband asked if I could drop by Smith's to pick up his music bag with his stuff in it that he needed for tomorrow, and it was late, like 11:30 p.m.-ish. Smith was awake and had been texting that it was fine. I asked if Amy was home, and he said yeah, but she's just off work and mad at Smith. I was starving, so I grabbed some Chinese takeout, Amy's favorite, and brought it over to get the stuff. Amy must have just fallen asleep when I came by with the treats. She gave me a big hug, but said that her back was in pain. I gave her a back massage till she slept, and then went to the man cave to eat food with Smith before heading home. We had my husband on speakerphone as we ate and talked about the boys' music. I left around 1-ish in the morning. Since then, my husband has gone over there every few weeks, depending on how busy work is, and played music and texts Smith regularly. I get, "Hey, how are you?" from him, but I am not good at answering texts, so I mostly leave him on red. I have shown up a few times to their place to drop off birthday and Christmas gifts or buy tickets for the kids' stuff, but I haven't spent much time there. So yesterday, I was celebrating my anniversary, and my husband had a major project at work. Smith is messaging him a lot, saying that he really needs a friend right now. He's going through a lot. My husband feels horrible, but he's got a deadline. I offered to go hang out with Smith as I'm friends with him too and have the mental health training, and he says, yeah, please, that would be great.
Stop.
Do we see
Stop
where this
it.
is going?
How do we not...
We see where this is going.
I guess on paper, it's way easier to see this with all the context written out.
Yeah.
But in the moment, maybe you're like, okay, Smith has reset himself.
Yeah.
He's married to.
Right.
He's got to be reset.
He hasn't said any of those weird things in a long time.
But he sent them to you for 6 years.
Yeah.
Straight, without any, and you were like, hey, I'm not interested in you. And he kept sending it.
Right. Smith's grandfather passed away a few weeks ago, and I figured that it was something like that. When I met Smith, he is looking bad, smelling bad, just the picture of struggling. I take him out and get him talking and fed. He tells me, Amy left him. Okay, talk to me about that and how you feel about it. He outlines all the things that are not good. From my perspective, they've truly never had a good, loving relationship, but I keep that to myself. He talks about how she disappeared and took the vehicle and bank cards to leave him stranded, but maybe there is hope. He tells me she's living with another friend, one I don't know from work because she's done. I try and validate his feelings, asking open-ended questions to tease out what he needs and wants to move forward with either the marriage or divorce. Smith drops the bomb on me. Amy told him when she was leaving that she believes that Smith and I were being spicy the night that I brought over takeout. Over 2 years ago. And she said that she knows that she has no interest because she truly didn't care then and she doesn't care now. He claims that she referred to me as a salute and an or during this accusation, afterwards saying that she's done with him and she wants him gone. I pushed aside the offense to it. Smith said that he felt bad for me because that's a pretty low opinion to have of me, but I stopped him and said that although I'm offended, it didn't happen, and so I don't feel that defensive about her saying it. We've had friends sleep with her exes, so I kind of get the concern, but that sucks, and I can't believe that she didn't tell me this. I have seen her several times since bringing food, and she never mentioned anything at all about it. Also, she's the type of person to be extremely confrontational, so it isn't like her to not say something if she really believed it. Smith also dropped the bomb that about 10 years ago, Amy called in false workplace pesterment claims on my ex that led to him getting terminated and screwing me and him financially for a long time. And the reason was that she was mad at me after her and I had an argument over my relationship with that ex. She wanted me to dump him because he is an a-hole and I wouldn't listen at the time. And you know what you should always listen to?
Oh, yeah.
Full episodes with more stories just like this one on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search Storytime. And that's crazy that because OP wouldn't listen, Amy was like, okay, so I'm going to get your boyfriend fired then.
I think if OP has a problem, it's that they might be a little too tolerant.
Possible.
I think OP should have known for 10 years that Amy pulled some sketch crap on you with that.
Yeah.
False allegations, messing with the money.
Yeah.
Messing with your lives. I have friends where I'm like, I don't like who you're dating.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go do that because it's your life.
Right.
Yeah,
and I feel like at the beginning she was like, yeah, I mean, Amy was always like toxic too. But
she sounds pretty toxic.
It's like, yeah, maybe I feel like the danger in having toxic friendships is that you can tolerate it when it's not involving you. You can be like, it's just something that they need to figure out. It's not something that I can have any control over. But then eventually it concerns you and it all gets pointed right back at you and you get involved. And it's like, okay, we don't want to be friends with these people that are cheating on these people back just because the ex was worse, like she said earlier in the story, or that one ex in high school. It doesn't mean that Amy's fine. We might not want to be friends with Amy if she wants to do all this stuff.
Correct.
But there is a little bit more to this story. So now I'm sitting here reeling and honestly wanting to cut the two of them out of my life. I had a very toxic and dramatic youth when I was closer to Amy, and I feel like this whole mess is pulling me back when I just want to grow and heal away from that sort of stuff. My husband is deeply offended that she said that I had an affair with Smith and also pissed that I am not madder. I am mostly mad about the work pesterment call because that ruined a lot of stuff and had me absolutely struggling and crying. I literally cried on her shoulder, hyperventilating over all the fallout from the false claims. Part of me was suspicious because she could get so spiteful and she hated my ex then, but I really didn't think that she would hurt me that way. I I'm just getting it off my chest. 19 years down the drain. There are some comments. Downvoted comment says, mental health field or not, you shouldn't be hanging out with someone's husband until 1 a.m. That would have avoided this entire situation. It sounds like no matter what, they would have split up since they didn't have a good relationship. It's good that your husband is supportive of you.
I don't agree with that, but I also do agree. I don't agree with that as a blanket statement, but I do agree with that with the context that we have that this guy had been sending you all those messages.
Yeah.
It's like clearly there had been a established dynamic where this guy was very, very pursuant of you.
Right.
And so
I mean,
once he's married to someone else, you really should not
yeah.
go and be that guy who talks to him until 1 a.m. You just shouldn't.
Yeah, I get that. I think it would, for me, depend on like what happened in between, like all those messages and like what happened in the marriage. Like, was there any other weird moments that he was doing, or like, I don't know, was there any suspicious behavior from him? But it seems like, I mean, the husband was on the phone and stuff. It seemed like it wasn't that bad, OP responds, I went over there to get my husband's things. Amy Smith and my husband all knew this and the hour. I also gave Amy a message because her back hurt and she left us to hang out to go to bed. So I finished the food that I brought for her because she was in a bad mood. I only hung out with him recently because my partner was busy and he was struggling with his mental health, which I thought was over grief, not his marriage. The cheating accusation was bizarre and never brought up before yesterday, even though the claim of incident was over 2 years prior, which is weird. But yeah, not ideal hanging out with your friend's partner after hours. It more ended up that way when she left rather than it being a planned hangout. And that is the end of that story.